Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to lesson 6.2.1 on second species counterpoint. So now that you have a basis in first species counterpoint, you have the framework that you're going to build off of for all of the other types. So today we're looking at second species, and again, I would recommend that you go ahead and practice this and experiment with it first before coming back and learning the nitpicky rules. So just visually glancing, it's easy to see now which one is the given melody because it's still in whole notes. You will notice that in terms of rhythm, the counterpoint, the line that you're writing, now has half notes. In terms of the harmony, the same rules always apply to the downbeat. It's the weak beats or the off beats, however you want to think about it, that now have different rules. And that's what we're going to talk about more in a little bit. Beginning, same as first species, start on tonic has to be in the bottom. So if the tonic's in the bottom, can be a perfect interval above a fifth. Tonics on, if your canis firmus is on top, has to be an octave down below. So that's what's going on there. You may start on the downbeat, or you may have a half rest and start on the second beat of the measure, or third beat, or however you want to think about it, the other beat. This makes the lines a little more independent. That's my personal preference, but either of those is acceptable. In terms of the end, it's the same idea. You'll notice that the last measure in both voices is a whole note, and leading up to that, you can have two half notes, and that's what all the examples here do. This next to last measure can also be a whole note, if desired. So, going back to the middle, you now have four options in each measure for the weak beat. You can move by step to another consonants. So that would be either a 5-6 or a 6-5 motion. And there's got to be one somewhere here. Yeah, so here we have a fifth moving to a sixth by step. This is unremarkable. Great. You can also skip or leap to another consonant interval. This is pretty common. Here you're going from a fifth to an octave. Here you're going from a sixth to a third. We can also have our first type of dissonance, a passing tone, which fills in a third by stepwise motion. So here you have a third, and you're going up to this note, which is also a chord tone, because it's on the downbeat, and you fill it in with this passing tone. This is the same idea that we've talked about passing tones in our ear tunes, where it's a dissonance, it doesn't fit in the chord, but it passes between two notes by step. So there you go. You can only have passing tones on weak beats in second species counterpoint, and the other way is a neighbor tone, which we've also looked at in our ear tunes. And I'm trying to see if there are any here. There's got to be one somewhere. Maybe not. Okay, so something you could do is say, if this were a D instead of an F, that would be a fifth, that would be a third, that's fine. So then a neighbor tone would be going up and back down. That would be an upper neighbor. If it went down and back up, that would be a lower neighbor. So that's what's going on. You don't want to use too many neighbor tones, because that would just mean the melody keeps returning to the same note all the time. That gets boring. Having dissonances in passing tones and having consonant skips are most characteristic for your typical second species that you'll see. That's probably why there aren't any neighbor tones here. Leaps can add some interest in direction. They typically occur within a measure, as opposed to going from one measure to the next. That's less common. And just looking at here, like, big leap there. That does happen there, but more often it's within a measure that you have these larger leaps going on, as opposed to between measures. You want to balance your leap, steps, and skips. And when you're checking for parallel fifths and octaves between downbeats, you're going to want to check between there and here, as well as the downbeat and here. So I'll go down here because it's less confusing. So here we have a fifth. So if this were also a fifth, that would be a problem. That would not be allowed. But also here, on the weak beat, we have a fifth. If this downbeat were also a fifth, we would have a problem. Weak beat to weak beat is okay. We don't care about that. But either of these going to the next downbeat, we need to watch to make sure that it's not parallel. So once you've done it, If you're doing it by hand, here's your checklist, and Artusi should go through this same checklist as well. See you next time for some third species.